Hello and welcome again to our devotional at Christ Baptist Church that we're doing every day while we're under lockdown, and we've been going through the books of Daniel, Ezra, Esther, and Nehemiah. And not necessarily in that order, but we've gone through these books that talk about how Israel was taken captivity by the Babylonians and then were released 70 years later by the Persian king Cyrus and back to Jerusalem. And then over a period of about almost 90 years from 586, from 536 BC down to now about 445 BC, under the time of Nehemiah. It's taken a long time to get the temple built, the city began to be built. Several times they stopped, and most recently we know that they stopped about 5 years before Nehemiah chapter 1 takes place. And then Nehemiah was sent back by the governor, back by the king to rebuild. Just God gave a hand of grace to the king for a gracious response to Nehemiah to be able to have him go back and build. And he did. In chapter 2, we last saw how he went out at night and he saw that everything was just really broken down and torn apart, and knew that there were enemies that were really behind this, but they had the letters from the king to be able to rebuild, and he had that confidence. And we get to chapter 3, which is pretty much just an account of the rebuilding. Excuse me. And then we see this, and there's got to be just a simple picture that we have of what it takes to rebuild, what it takes to actually move together as one community to really move to accomplish things for the Lord of one mind, what it means to be of one mind. Here in chapter 3, we'll just kind of go through this, showing how the people are rebuilding. So Nehemiah gets started and the people are starting to rebuild here. This is still in the 20th year of King Artaxerxes. Then Eliashib, the high priest, rose with his brothers, the priests, and built the sheep gate. They consecrated it and hung its doors. They consecrated the wall to the Tower of the 100 and the Tower of Hananel. And so we even see the high priest now, the one who is now called the high priest, Eliashib, he goes to work. It's not just for the people, but Eliashib, the high priest, it starts there. He and his brothers, the priests, built one of the gates called the sheep gate. Verse 2, next to him, the men of Jericho built. And then next to them, Zachar, the son of Imri, built. Now the sons of Hassenaah built the fish gate. They laid its beams and hung its doors with its bolts and bars. Next to them, Meremoth, the son of Uriah, the son of Hakkoz, made repairs. And next to him, Meshullam, the son of Berechiah, the son of Meshezabel, made repairs. And next to him, Zadok, the son of Bana, also made repairs. Remember, the Zadokites are also part of the Levites. There's a very specific family group of the priests, and they're out there as well getting their hands dirty doing this. Moreover, next to him, the Tekoites made repairs, but their nobles did not support the work of their masters. Notice that little phrase there that would say, these people are working, but they were Jewish nobles, people who had a lot of money, people who were of the aristocracy. They didn't like this. Because why? Because they'd made arrangements and contracts with the enemies and the people all outside. They were mixing with the world. But they went ahead anyway, the Tekoites. Joiada, the son of Paseah, and Meshullam, the son of Besodiah, repaired the old gate. They laid its beams and hung its doors with bolts and bars. Notice the specificity about how they laid the gates. They made sure they put bolts and bars. These are the things so you can lock the gate at night. Verse 7, next to them, Melatiah the Gibeonite and Jadon the Meronothite, the men of Gibeon and Mizpah, also made repairs for the official seat of the governor of the province beyond the river. Notice there's Gibeonites there, the ones that Joshua made a covenant with long ago. Gibeonites are still there with them, and they're in there as exiles. Shows that God's covenant still stays in force. Verse 8, next to him, Uzziel, the son of Harhiah of the goldsmiths, made repairs, and next to him Hananiah, one of the perfumers, made repairs as they and they restored Jerusalem as far as the broad wall. These are people who had normal trades. They needed to make money, sell their wells, goldsmiths, perfumers, but you know what? They needed to get together and do this because this was important for the community of Israel. Next to them, Rephaiah, the son of Hur, the official of half the district of Jerusalem, made repairs. So a guy who was related to the one who had half the district of Jerusalem, he made repairs. Next to them, Jediah, the son of Harumaph, made repairs opposite his house. And next to him, Hamush, the son of Hashabniah, made repairs. So you see now their houses are real close to where they're making repairs, and they're repairing both. Malchijah, the son of Haram, and Hashab, the son of Pahath Moab, repaired another section of the Tower of Furnaces. And next to him, Shallum, the son of Haloshah, the official of half the district of Jerusalem, made repairs, he and his daughters. And so we see these people that are very important, that are responsible for a large chunk of Jerusalem, are out there working. Hanan, the inhabitants of Zanoah, repaired the valley gate. They built it and hung its doors with its bolts and its bars, and 1,000 cubits of the wall to the refuse gate. That's a lot, 1,000 cubits. What would that be? That would be basically 1,500 feet. And so that's going to be quite a bit, 1,500 feet, and you've got 2.54 centimeters in an inch and 12 inches, so you can do the math right there and find out how many kilometers we're talking about. Malchijah, the son of Rechab, the official of the district of Beth Hakerem, repaired the refuse gate. He built it and hung its doors with its bolts and its bars. Shallum, the son of Kolhozah, the official of the district of Mizpah, repaired the fountain gate. He built it, covered it, and hung its doors with its bolts and its bars, and the wall of the pool of Shelah at the king's garden as far as the steps that descend from the city of David. So they're really getting into all the aspects of Jerusalem. After him, Nehemiah, the son of Azbuk, official of half the district of Beth Zur, made repairs as far as the point opposite the tombs of David, and as far as the artificial pool and the house of the mighty men. So they even knew where these structures were, even though under Babylon they wiped the whole city out and wiped every monument out, wiped everything out. They knew where they were. The tombs or the house of the mighty men here. After him, the Levites carried out repairs under Rehum, the son of Bani. Next to him, Hashabiah, the official of half the district of Keilah, carried out repairs for his district. After him, their brothers carried out repairs under Bobby, the son of Henadad, official of the other half of the district of Keilah. Next to him, oh, by the way, Keilah is where David rescued the people from Keilah, even though Saul was going to come attack him, and he was, well, it's one of the places where David went, 1 Samuel 23. After him, their brothers carried out repairs under Bobby, the son of Henadad, official of the other half of the district of Keilah. Next to him, Ezer, the son of Jeshua, the official of Mizpah, repaired another section in front of the ascent of the armory at the angle. After him, Baruch, the son of Zabbai, zealously repaired another section from the angle to the doorway of the house of Elishibib, the high priest. After him, Meremoth, the son of Uriah, the son of Hakaz, repaired another section from the doorway of Eliashib's house, even as far as the end of his house. There we go. Their houses are attached to the place they're actually building, so they have a motivation. They're not only just building and constructing the city, but they're working on their own house as well, because their own house is part of the wall. After him, the priests, the men of the valley, carried out repairs. After them, Benjamin and Hasub carried out repairs in front of their house. After them, Azariah, the son of Messiah, the son of Ananiah, carried out repairs beside his house. After him, Benui, the son of Henadad, repaired another section from the house of Azariah as far as the angle and as far as the corner. Pelal, the son of Uzai, made repairs in front of the angle and the tower projecting from the upper house of the king, which is by the court of the guard. And after him, Pedaiah, the son of Perosh, made repairs. The temple servants living in Ophel made repairs as far as the front of the water gate toward the east and the projecting tower. After them, the Tekoites repaired another section in front of the great projecting tower and as far as the wall of Ophel. Above the horse gate, the priest carried out repairs, each in front of his house. After them, Zadok, the son of Immer, carried out repairs in front of his house. And after him, Shemaiah, the son of Jeconiah, the keeper of the east gate, carried out repairs. After him, Hananiah, the son of Shelemiah, and Hanun, the sixth son of Zalaph, repaired another section. After him, Meshullam, the son of Berechiah, carried out repairs in front of his own quarters. After him, Malchijah, one of the goldsmiths, carried out repairs as far as the house of the temple servants and of the merchants, in front of the inspection gate, and as far as the upper room of the corner. Between the upper room of the corner and the sheep gate, the goldsmiths and the merchants carried out repairs. So what we see here is a big list of just the people. Some were Levites, there was the high priest, many were workers. There were names of people that Nehemiah and them knew all right there. Sons of this and sons of that, and many were working on a place next to their own house. That's how to get work done. You have people invested in the process, because Jerusalem and the temple is who they are as part of their life, and their houses are wrapped up in it. The one people who weren't part of it were the nobles. They lived separate. They lived out there. They weren't part of the community. Oh, they liked Jerusalem, they liked the temple and all of that when it suited their purposes. But they had agreements with the people who didn't like Jerusalem. They had other associations outside of the religious community of Israel. And they needed to make sure those people were happy as well. And so the people who were really invested in temple worship, Israelite governance, it's all part and parcel of the same thing, and our houses are wrapped up in there. We're together in community. We are building. We're not just saying we'll give some money and all that. The other people who aren't invested, they criticize. What does it say? What's our application here? Well, in the church today, we're not Israel. We're not under God's government. We don't have that. We're free to move around and that. But are we really free from God? No, we're not. And God's told us that we are part of a local church, a community of believers, and that is our family. Our church family, outside of our immediate family, is where we have our associations, and that's really where we derive all of our benefit during the week, is with each other, our church family. You can't really be part of a church when you're far away and you have associations outside the church much more than you do inside the church. You're not invested in the church. So therefore, you don't want your time and your energy and all of your happiness and all that coming into the church because it's outside. You've replaced the church, and you use the church for your own, to remove your own guilt, actually. These are folks who are saying, this is all of our life right here. That's God's intention for the church. It was the first century, and it is now. Just because we live in a democracy, unlike Rome, and we live in a place where people are free to do what they want, choose what they want, you're not free from serving the Lord. That takes us right back to sin. And the best way we can have great joy, happiness, and grow in our sanctification is when we are invested in one another in the body of believers. These people's houses were right next to the places they were repairing, because where they were living was right there where they needed to be repaired. So that means the enemies were tearing down their houses. If they fix their house, they're actually fixing Jerusalem and the temple as well. They're invested together. And they're excited. They work together with each other. They encourage each other. Can't do that like the nobles who discourage them in the work because they're far. Don't do that. We got other investments we'd rather have, and other things we'd like to take our time to. This says, just like Israel, the local church is a community of believers that is a family, that we gather together and we support one another and we help each other in the family. That's what Christ has intended for his church, just like God has intended for Israel. It's a community not of autonomous people who just live under a set of laws, but it's a community that is a family. That's always God's intention. When he brings people into his family, children of God with new life, it's a family. It's not individual people that just reap the benefits of their own salvation. That's what we can see here, is such a community taking place here in Israel under Nehemiah chapter 3. And they're rebuilding pretty quickly, and we see that. Remember, it's now about 444, 445 BC, 13 years after Ezra chapter 10. Nehemiah finds out that the place is broken down. He gets permission from the king. He goes, checks it out, sees that it's all burned up and broken down, and then he gets the people and gets them going to work. How are they motivated? Because this is their life. It's not in addition to their own home. It is their own home. And that's how they were able to pull it all together. And so we see that activity of the community of believers coming together, helping each other, encouraging each other, making a great task possible because of how they're working together as a family. It's Nehemiah chapter 3, and so we'll see you in the next devotion in Nehemiah chapter 4.